Hello, this is Jerry with CadKitchenPlanscom here again in another installment of Kitchen and Bath 3D AutoCAD. In previous videos you've seen me make this cabinet right here. You've also seen me add a face frame to the cabinet, punched holes in that face frame to accommodate the doors and drawers, sculpted the toe kick of that face frame. We stretched it down obviously for that sculpting, made it wider for the columns which you saw me made in a previous video, and then also in the last video made this door. This is a raised panel door, and I want to continue on a little bit with this door because in this video I'm going to show you how to do a 5-piece drawer front. This door is what I call a quick and easy version of a raised panel door, and works very well, looks very good, but there are a few things that you need to know about it. One of them is that it's not entirely accurate because it doesn't show the joint between the stile and rail components of the door, the actual construction joint. So what I did when I made this door was simply to sweep a profile, which I still have up right here. I swept this profile around a sweep path and it generated that door for me. But you may find yourself in a situation where you need to have a different width, stile, and rail. To illustrate that, I did bring in another sheet from the Mauser collection, which is the manufacturer we were working with. We looked at our door, which is right here. And originally what I did was I took and traced right from the PDF sheet that I imported. You could see here's the profiles that I was working off of. Well, when we look at that door, which is called the Glendale door in their collection, there's a corresponding drawer front that goes with it. Now if it's a slab drawer front, that's fine, it's easy to draw, it's no big deal. But a lot of times, particularly in higher end products, you need to draw a 5-piece drawer front. And you can see here's the matching Glendale drawer front here. The question becomes, how do you draw a door that has a 2 1/4 inch stile, which is the vertical component as shown here, and an 1.5 inch top and bottom rail? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that today. And it's going to be a little bit time consuming, there's just no way around it, but it is a good way to do it, and it will show everything you need to show. But let's back up for a second to our cabinet here that I've been working on. One of the things about this cabinet that I came to realize when I started laying out the drawer front was that it's a little bit too short. In other words, I would like to see less of this center rail portion of the face frame. You can see right now the door only overlaps it by 1/4 of an inch. I want to bring that door up, and then I'm going to make my drawer front a little bit wider to cover as much of this as I can. And in fact, I want to end up with about 1/8 of an inch in gap between the door and the drawer. So what I'm going to do is show you how to modify the width of the previous door that we made. And this is actually, again, going back to this door, very easy to make and very easy to edit. These are the good things about it. So if you can get away with doing this type of a door, that's great. What I've done is I've highlighted this grip right here. I selected the frame, held down the shift key, left click, highlighted that grip. I'm going to hold down the shift key again, left click, highlight this grip. And you can see we still show the profile points of the part that we swept, but we're not concerned with those so much right now. I want to make this door 7/16 of an inch taller. So I've highlighted those grips, click on one of them, and then just drag it up and enter 0.4375, which is 7/16 of an inch. So that makes the frame larger, and then I just need to make the panel larger. I'm going to grab the grip here, highlight it, grab the grip, and say 0.4375. So now I've adjusted the height of the door to work with my drawer front, and I'm ready to start building that drawer. If I back up to the PDFs over here, let me show you what I've done. This was originally the door profile that we worked with. Then I came in and traced everything out again and broke everything down into individual profiles. So for instance, this is the raised panel profile. This is the bead profile on the inside of the door. This is the actual stile profile, which is again the vertical components that will be wider. And then this is the outside edge profile. It's necessary to do this because I literally have to build the drawer front piece by piece. And then here is the rail component. And you can see that it's thinner than the stile component, and it's actually 1 inch. You see it right there. It's 1 inch wide, whereas this component is 1 3/4 inches wide. So let's get to work on this. I've already copied the profiles over to here, and I'm going to start working with this. And the first thing, again, I like to do is copy the profiles that I'll be working with. Oh, by the way, let's talk about dimensions. How big are we going to make this drawer? Well, I've already laid it out, and I've decided that I need a 7-inch high drawer You can see my reference lines here. This will get me an eighth from the top of the frame and an eighth from the door below that I've just increased in height. We need to calculate the width. We know that the opening is 20 inches wide, which is what I'm going to work with, because you'll see that I'm going to run that 1/4 inch outside profile around the door, and that will give me my 1/4 inch overhang on the left and right of the drawer. But again, let's back up over here to our profiles. I always work with copies just in case something goes wrong. So I'm going to copy these two profiles right here and just pull them out here and start working with them. And I said that drawer front needed to be 7 inches high, but I was also working with a 1/4 inch all the way around for an overhang. So I'm going to make the drawer height component 6.5 inches high, but I only want to do half of that, and I'll show you why in a moment. So I need to extrude these profiles. Click on the items I want to extrude, hit enter, select a point. I'm going to say 3.25, and there is half of the style that I need to create. But I know that when I create this rail component needs to come in here. And so this part right here, which is the bead, needs to be shorter to accept that rail by 1 inch. And I also need to taper this edge so that it has a miter on it, so that when the parts come together, the bead on the rail component will fit. So I'm going to go with a command called taper faces. It asks me to select the face, and then it asks me to select the path of the taper, which is right there, the x-axis. And it asks me for the degree of the taper. I'm going to say 45. You can see what it's done is it's tapered that down for me. But I still only have half of the component that I need to create. So what I want to do now is I want to do a 3D mirror command. See, I could have done this all in one piece, and then I'd have to taper both edges. I'd have to change the height both ends on this part. So now I'm all done with that, and I just need to mirror those parts. So I'm going to select the 3D mirror command and then create the second half of the first style that I want to create. So first thing I want to do is orient the part properly. I need to look at the bottom of the part. Right here. I'm going to select the 3D mirror command, select the parts that I want to mirror, select the points for the mirror, and hit enter. So now you can see there is our first style component. And I'm going to do some unioning here very fast. Join this part to this part. And I'm going to join this part to this part. So now I have the beginning of my style. Now I want to work on the rail component. So I'm going to, again, copy this, move my copy right out here. I can work with it. And what I've determined is that we want to make the drawer front 20 inches wide, but we need to do some quick math in order to get there. So this is 1.75 inches wide right here, times 2 is 3.5, and subtracting 3.5 from 20 gives me 16.5. And I'm going to cut that in half again at 8.25 because I'm going to do the same thing that I did with this component here. So I want to extrude this piece 8.25 inches. Say 8.25, just like that. And then I also need to run a bead on the inside edge, just like I did over here. So I'm going to start with this bead profile here, copy that, and put it into position where it needs to go. There. You can see now I need to orient that bead. It's not exactly in the right axis for what I want to do. So let me just do this, get a better view of it here. Like that. just need to pick the proper axis to rotate it around. It's right there. Drop it right there. And I need to move it so that it lines up exactly where I want it to be, which is right there. Now we'll extrude this full length of the part. We're going to take it all the way to the end. Right there. And I'll come back, and remember I want to taper that edge, or the end of my bead rather. So I'm going to taper this face. I'm going to select the Taper Faces command, select the face. It's going to prompt me for an axis, which is right there. Taper angle, 45 degrees. And there it has tapered that, so it will now mate with our other component just the way we want. But one more thing I need to do before I mirror this part is I need to add a tongue on the end of the rail so that it goes into the corresponding groove at the top of our part up here. So I'm going to do that by just selecting the box command, snapping it right there, right click and say length. And I know that I want to protrude out 1/4 of an inch from the end of the rail. There's 1/4 of an inch. I know it needs to be 3/4 of an inch high, and it needs to be 1/4 of an inch thick. So we've got 1/4 by 1/4 by 3/4 tongue on the end of our rail. And I'm going to union that to the rail. Now I need to use the 3D mirror command. Now that I have that taper on the bead, I've connected and fashioned the tongue, I just need to 3D mirror. And I won't have to mess with anything on the other end of this. It'll be all set. So, and there is the rest of our rail. And I'm going to union some more parts together so that we get rid of any joint lines in it. Just like that. Now I'll move this piece into position. You can see this is very similar to how it might work if you were actually working in a wood shop and building this, except now your tools are the AutoCAD commands instead of routers and saws and sanders and things like that. And now in order to finish off the rest of this drawer front, again I'm going to use the 3D mirror command. So select the command item I want to mirror, give it some points, enter. There's our matching style. I can move that into position. Bring it right down here. Drop it right there. Now I need to mirror the rail. And then once that's done, of course, move that into position as well. There's our duplicate rail. Now I just need to move that into position. Just like that. So here's our 5-piece drawer front coming together. What I do need though is to chase a profile around the outside edge, which is fairly easy to do. I'm just going to start a sweep path so the profile knows exactly where to go. Again, it's a 3D polyline. I'm going to pick there, 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 this corner, and finish that off. Just like that. I'm going to grab my profile, again copying, place that right into position there where I want it. And now we use the sweep command. Sweep sweeping that item, looking for that path. There it is there. There is our profile. And I'll drop that obviously on the same layer so it's the same color, so it doesn't throw you off too much. This is really coming together. Let's check our dimensions and make sure we've built this thing properly. Remember, we wanted it to be, I believe, 20 and a half. As you can see, I've got right there, close enough for me. And we wanted it to be 7 inches high. Which is right on the money there. And the final couple of things we need to do to this is, again, we need to sweep another path around here for the raised panel section. So that requires another sweep path. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get these out of the way. I'll put these on a different, that. Get this bead out of here momentarily. You do that by putting it on a different layer and then turning off the layer. Just like that. Now it's a little bit easier for me to see where I need to drop that polyline. Yeah. This is going to be, again, the sweep path for the panel profile. It's tough to see in this view. You kind of have to go back and forth to make sure that it looks good. It looks like it landed where I need it to land. Now, make a copy of this. I'm going to drop it that, to sweep it, select the object to sweep, select the path. There is our raised panel portion. Let's put our bead back in, right there. There's our bead. Now we're looking here. Okay, and now all I need to do is put a box in the center, go to a different layer to make it a little bit easier to see. I want that box to go here to there for now. And I'm going to pull it out this way, 1/8 of an inch. Just like that. So there's our 5-piece raised panel drawer front, and this exactly matches what we're looking at right here in the manufacturer's spec book for this Glendale drawer front. I guess the final thing I should do is move this into position, put it on our cabinet, and we should be in good shape for that drawer front. But just for fun, I'm going to put it all on the same layer so it all matches. There we go. Now we'll slide it into position. We should be in good shape. the center here. Bring it right over here to my reference line, right there. And we'll see how it fits. Looks pretty good. Got my 1/8 inch at the top, I have my 1/8 inch between. So I think that wraps it up for the 5-piece raised panel drawer front. Took a little bit of time, but the results are as accurate as you're going to get without actually constructing this thing yourself. And obviously these can be used for shop drawings or details or manufacturing or whatever it is, but that's the power of 3D AutoCAD. Thanks again for watching. Again, it's Jerry with CadKitchenPlanscom. Please visit the site. Please send me an email if you have any comments or questions, and we'll see you on the next video.